At home. Ooh, it's going to be packed like whales in a sardine can.
Just kind of, right?
Yeah.
That's a good saying.
I've used that for a long time. Or you go up so you can kind of give her some help.
That's not me personally, is it?
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm
just trying to stand up right now.
Yeah.
I will hold the line for you.
Yeah, you go. Yeah, you go first so I can help her in.
We did tip over more. That'd be a bad deal. I got my eye on it. Sparrow's not going anywhere.
Thank you very much.
Let this cutie in. He's got to go in.
Okay.
He's too cute to resist.
Sir. All right.
Oh, sorry.
No problem.
I'm trying not to bonk you.
Yeah, we're done. We're close here.
Is there a spot for me?
More people. Just a couple more here.
Okay. Oop. I'm trying not to.
You can have my spot, okay?
Okay. Oop. I am in, and I'm just gonna. I should have left this beast at home. I didn't expect it to be this packed. Well, I have my coat on, so I will just use my coat pocket to push my stick down into my. Oh, that don't work. That's a torn pocket. I'll stick it in my purse. It'll be a bit shaky. I'm going to get my tablet so I can shoot pictures. So I do want to shoot pictures in here.
I'm sure.
I'm sorry, guys.
So far it's been fairly peaceful anyway.
I'll be in order. Thank you for coming back here. I want to thank everyone that's here today. I know there's passion on both sides of this issue. I may ask everybody to be respectful. If I see that this meeting is interrupted or we cannot conduct this meeting, I will ask state control to have you move on both sides. And with that said, I made a promise to Senator Peterson that we have an hour for questions. And I know right now it's 1:34. We'll come back because we are up against the natural resources committee, which is some people around this table.
Sorry about that.
We will come back at 4 p.m. Whatever, right now we have another half hour of this question if we would like to. That's the plan right now. And I would just ask Senator Vizcaino, I know that you have something you want to say. And,
Thank you, Chair. My issue that I want to raise has nothing to do with the bill. It has to do with the limitations. And as a senator, and you're all friends and colleagues, it's unprecedented that we limit the debate. And it's unprecedented that we restrict times to air fully the issue before us. I know it happened in the subcommittee, created a great deal of unhappiness, and now we're in the full committee. And it's just among us senators. So it doesn't matter allowing everybody in this room to speak. But we never disrespected each other to the point where we have limited the opportunity for as long as the senator wishes to speak. And I don't believe that we are in the majority that you can show an example that we've done that, that we've called the question, that we have put a time certain. And I think that every senator in this committee should have a right to speak as long as they wish on an issue. It's so important, obviously, so many people can say about it. Thank you.
And I just want to respond to Senator Zanotto. I appreciate your input. I did not know what the intention of the minority party was, if they were going to come back.
What that is referring to is the point of personal privilege for the full chamber session has been pushed to the end of the day instead of at the beginning. And at point of personal privilege is when a legislator can speak on any subject, whether it relates to the current activity on the floor or not.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Your subcommittee of Sinclair, Peterson, Schultz met on January 10th to discuss Senate File 2 with Sinclair and Schultz on the passage. Colleagues in the Senate, ladies and gentlemen, here to observe these proceedings, I'd like to report you Senate File 2, a bill for the establishment of state family planning services program. The program outlined by this bill will replace the current Medicaid family planning network rate. The change makes Iowa's family planning services ostensibly state-funded, though it is possible federal money will still be used for a block grant, which allows the state more discretion in how the money is spent then for Medicaid. This change will allow Iowa to restrict government funding to family planning services away from organizations that perform abortions that are not medically necessary. The bill directs DHS, the Department of Human Services, to discontinue the Medicaid Family Planning Network waiver effective July 1, 2017, and instead establish a state family planning services program. The program is to replicate eligibility and other requirements exactly as a waiver, and distribute funds in a manner that continues access to family planning services. However, none of the funds are to be distributed to any entity that performs abortions or that maintains or operates a facility where abortions are performed. The bill specifies that this prohibition includes funds for indirect costs or expenses, overhead, employee salaries, rent, telephone, other utilities related to providing abortions. Please note, colleagues, that for the purpose of this bill, abortion does not include 1, the treatment for physical disorder, or physical injury, or physical illness, including a life-endangering physical condition caused by or arising from the pregnancy itself, that would, as certified by a physician, place a woman in danger of death. Additionally, an abortion does not include treatment of a woman for a spontaneous abortion, commonly known as a miscarriage, when not all of the products of human conception are expelled. This bill requires DHS to submit a report to the Governor and General Assembly annually by January 1, listing any entities that receive program funds that are in the lowest position of priority as described as non-public entities that provide family planning services but do not provide required primary health care services as defined in federal law, as well as the amount and type of those funds received by such entities during the preceding year. The report is also to include a detailed explanation of how DHS determined the distribution of program funds to such an entity was necessary to prevent severe limitation or elimination of access to family planning services in the region of the state where the entity is located. I will tell you, Senator, I've received many comments and I've read them. Many Iowans have brought questions to me, concerns regarding how this will affect women's reproductive health, and I have considered them all, including the ones that called me names and shamed me, and informed me that I had a special place in health. In response to those concerns, I reached out to the executive branch and received guidance from the Department of Human Services, who will be the agency tasked with administering the new state family planning services program. First, this bill will not completely eliminate tax funding and parenthood in the state of Iowa, as incorrectly reported and brought to our attention. This bill deals specifically and only with the Medicaid Family Planning Network waiver, which utilizes state tax dollars as well. It does not address the Medicaid Title X program, nor the teen pregnancy and sex education grant programs. These are fully federally funded programs totaling approximately $1.5 million with different funding requirements that we do not have. Second, this bill will not eliminate family planning funding for services for needy Iowa women. Last year, $2.6 million approximately was spent using a combination of both state and federal money. This bill would actually transition the same requirements for covering these women for birth control, for tax tests, for STI tests, all the same services as currently covered, and actually expand the amount committed to the purpose well over $3 million. As it is anticipated that the increased access to providers will actually increase the usage of the program. Next, this bill does not change laws requiring abortion. This bill does not change any laws regarding abortion. Currently, tax money cannot be used to cover abortion, elective abortion. There will be no related changes to that. The bill does not limit or infringe the legal option of a woman to seek an abortion. It is, in fact, a measured attempt to balance the reproductive health care needs of Iowa's working poor with the objections of the taxpayers who oppose tangibly subsidizing that option through public support of shared facilities. Another misconception is that family planning services will be provided by people who are unqualified to do a job. Please note, if you read the bill, you will know there is zero allowance in this bill allowing family planning services to be provided by anyone other than trained medical providers. The added benefit is that those healthcare services will be, in many cases, provided by people also qualified to address the woman's overall health and identify needs that may currently go unnoticed. The positive implications of that alone are enough to garner support for Senate Bill 2. It has been stated that 80,000 Iowa women will lose access to health care, and I am sorry, but that statement is false. DHS confirmed to me that approximately this past year, 12,000 individuals received care under the current family plan system. That is a number confirmed by DHS, 12,000 individuals. To quote my colleague, Senator Charles Schneider, that's not a political statement, that's just math. Some question has been raised about the process of prioritizing providers and the impact of the huge influx of patients to the first-year providers. And while on the surface that could be a concern, DHS guidance on the matter quickly alleviates any concern I have. To quote directly from the proposal for implementation of the state family planning system, and again I quote, the $3,383,880 funding level is expected to fully fund the program. Prioritization will only be needed if funding is exhausted. To put it simply, all Medicaid-approved providers will be able to provide care to patients, and the expanded group of providers will ensure that the first-year providers are not overwhelmed, nor will it cause a backlog in service. A final concern brought to my attention was that DHS would be unable to implement the program by the date provided in the bill, July 1st. Upon request for information, DHS guidance rejects that notion. They will, in fact, utilize their already existing delivery model, the one they currently use. They will use the same memorandum of understanding process with providers as they have in the past. They will operate under the same qualifying process for patient access that currently exists. In short, according to their own documentation, and I quote, the SFPSP, State Family Planning Services Program, will improve access to eligibility for family planning and family planning-related services and increase the number of low-income people receiving family planning and family planning-related services throughout Iowa. I'd like to share just some final thoughts, if I could, in my opening statements here regarding Senate Bill 2 before are 0 Planned Parenthood clinics located. And I would suggest that that is true for the other rural districts in the state of Iowa as well.
If you did not hear that, she said there are 0 Planned Parenthood clinics in rural areas, rural and urban areas.
To access their needs services on a basis. Transitioning to state option will allow any Medicaid eligible clinic that doesn't provide elective abortions in conjunction with private, nonprofit family planning facilities to provide the same services right where our sisters and our daughters and our mothers live. The increased access in both facilities and scope of service is why I'm such an advocate for this transition. This plan provides a higher level of funding than is currently allocated. So the same rules for qualifying stand. The only thing that changes is that any providers will also provide abortion will be excluded from eligibility. If Planned Parenthood or any other abortion provider wishes to continue to receive state family planning dollars, they can easily discontinue offering abortions, which I advise is only about 2.5% of their population. Please know women will not go without advance or care or screenings.
So far, I have not heard anything about services for men.
That concludes my opening statement, Senator, and I will allow the rest of the body to have
Senator Kingsbury. Rob, is there any discussion? Senator Taylor?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First of all, I want to thank you for having us here. And I'd like to say something about that. I wish that would have happened at subcommittee. I was there, and there was no explanation, and that's what the explanation should have been was at the subcommittee. But I'm glad probably that this is as the ranking member of the judiciary committee, you're well aware I know the subcommittee was to competitive. And that subcommittee really did give a chance to express her opinion or ask some questions. Which I was there too. And I need to have some other questions. So at this time, I'm going to reserve my right as a ranking member
The door is open, so there's a lot of noise from outside, so might not be able to hear as well, so I apologize that. Now that door's been shut, so audio should be better.
Which will gut Iowa's Family Planning Network. Senator Sinclair cut off their testimony after 25 minutes. Senators were not allowed time to ask questions about the bill or provide facts about the Iowa Family Planning Network. I have served in the Iowa legislature for 17 years. I have never seen a subcommittee conducted that way. I stayed for nearly an hour after the meeting to listen to Iowans and make sure their stories were heard. It's unfortunate that not one of the 29 Republican sponsors of the bill stuck around to hear what Iowans have to say about it. Apparently, 28 Republican men and 1 Republican woman know what's best for women's health care. I appreciate everyone who came forward to advocate against Senate Bill 2 to help protect the health of our sisters and brothers living in Iowa. Here's what I've learned about Senate Bill 2. Senate Bill 2 guts the Iowa Family Planning Network, a program that has helped more than 80,000 Iowa women and men access family planning
think she is referring to men.
Since the program began in 2006, that number is accurate. We know the Iowa Family Planning Waiver works. It has helped reduce abortion and Medicaid expenses in our state. The Iowa Family Planning Network is inexpensive for taxpayers. Iowa's Family Planning Network program has saved Iowa taxpayers millions of dollars. We should not mess with a program that works. Let's look at the facts. The Iowa Family Planning Network works. An evaluation of the program by the University of Iowa Public Policy Center in May of 2016 showed the family planning waiver has increased the number of women receiving family planning services within the Medicaid program. Medicaid costs for deliveries and birth and first years of life have declined by nearly $345 million since the program began. Very conservative estimates of the net Medicaid savings are more than $265 million. The Iowa Family Planning Network saves Iowa taxpayers money. For every 10 cents Iowa taxpayers invest in the program, we get an additional 90 cents from the federal government to pay for the program. Iowans invest roughly $300,000 in this program every year. When you add the federal dollars to the investment, we get more than $3 million in preventative health services for Iowa women and men throughout the state. The University of Iowa study shows Iowa taxpayers have saved nearly $3.40 for every dollar they invested in the Iowa Family Planning Network. Under Senate File 2, Iowa will walk away from federal funds that go to serve the Iowa Family Planning Network. The new program, devised by 8 men and 1 woman in the Senate, none of whom have a medical degree, will put the entire cost of the program on the backs of Iowa taxpayers. It's also important to note there will be absolutely no funds in Senate File 2, the bill before us today. There are no funds in this bill going toward the new program. The current Iowa Family Program has reduced unintended pregnancies and abortions. Senate Republicans want to scrap the successful program and force Iowa taxpayers to spend 10 times the money just to exclude Planned Parenthood from providing care to Iowa women and men. Senate Bill 2 does more than just defund Planned Parenthood. Under the Republican plan, Senate File 2 completely eliminates the Iowa Family Planning Network and replaces it with a state-run program that doesn't exist right now and doesn't have a guaranteed funding stream to make it happen. It's important to remember the Iowa Family Planning Network has never funded abortions. The Iowa Family Planning Network has been successful in preventing abortions and improving birth outcomes. When you make it harder for Iowans to access family planning services, you increase the number of unintended pregnancies. Gutting the Iowa Family Planning Network will cause more unintended pregnancies and abortions. Senate File 2 puts politicians in charge of healthcare, and that is dangerous. We've been told the new state program will offer more providers and give women more options. That simply is not true. Senate File 2 does not give women more options for healthcare. In fact, it will force thousands of women to leave providers who they've chosen and go to providers selected by 29 politicians. Let's remember, the women participating in this program are not participating in the program for abortions. It's the absolute opposite. These women are participating in the Iowa Family Planning Network to take care of their bodies and to prevent unintended pregnancies and abortions. Yet now, a group of 28 politicians, 28 of whom have never gotten completely undressed, put on a paper gown, and put their feet in stirrups for a tax year, are telling women that they know what's best for them. This is small government at work at the Iowa State House this year. Iowans have a right to be concerned about this legislation. Iowa taxpayers have every right to be angry that we will be giving up millions of dollars in federal funding to start deciding that this program will take away funds that should have been going to their services. To the thousands of Iowa women who may lose their health care coverage and family planning coverage when Republicans repeal Obamacare, Senate File 2 is not prepared to add you to the program. You will be out of luck when your care falls away with the repeal of Obamacare, because this is a first-come, first-served birth control program. If we keep the current system that actually works, the program would be able to include women if they lose their family planning services because of Obamacare repeal at a very, very small cost to Iowa taxpayers. And God forbid the Zika virus or other outbreak affects Iowa. The size of the program will not increase to keep up the demand for family planning services as it would under our existing Iowa family planning waiver. Bottom line, this bill is dangerous. It endangers the health of thousands of Iowa women. This bill will cost Iowa taxpayers more money. Under the bill, Iowa women will have fewer options for their health care, not more. It decreases access. 28 men and 1 Republican woman will tell women where they can and cannot go for their care. While Republicans claim this is a mandate from Iowans, they are ignoring facts. Let's remember, 74% of Iowans support public funding for Planned Parenthood or family planning services. This new program only offers first-come, first-served birth control. Who wants to come to a state that treats women like that?
The door was open so that a woman could take her crying baby out.
After taking control of the Iowa Senate, they said economic development should be a first
So
every
the crowd was outside is coming in.
say this. Senate File 2 is a step in the wrong direction. But the Iowa Family Planning Network is not going to help our state improve its ranking of dead last when it comes to female entrepreneurs. Why would we cut the Iowa Family Planning Network? The program works. It saves taxpayers millions of dollars. It has helped reduce abortion and Medicaid. We shouldn't mess with it. Now, I will yield my time for questions. I know there's other senators who want to speak, but I do have a series of questions they have about the legislation. Thank you.
Senator Cheney, you are in order.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to look at a different perspective and something that I came to know and how I came to know Planned Parenthood. Planned Parenthood, in my career in law enforcement, was always there supporting me in my investigation. I did, in the time that I was in investigation, a large number of sexual assault investigations, and they were always there assisting us with the victims of assault. In 2006, when I first began working on human trafficking cases, Planned Parenthood was one of the first, if not the first organization that came to me and said, how can we help you? What can we do? How can we treat these victims? How can we get education out so people know this is going on in the state? And it's very hard for me to now go back and tell those people that stepped up to help me, but I cannot step up to help them.
Okay, I'll call on Senator Schultz.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, ladies and gentlemen here, senators. I'd like to also have a little bit of a separate view. I noticed talking points have changed just a little bit. River was visiting, River showed that a few of us did hear this yesterday. And I am glad to see we're originally at the talking points that there was going to be nothing, there was no tradition that there was a program going to be formed. Now today I am glad that we are admitting that there is a program going to be formed. And you go through the process, you find that it is an almost identical program. The admission, the application, the providers, the centers are almost identical. What's also actually that I'm running through this process is that list of providers. See, yesterday on River was, as we talked around
We had pros and cons on this bill, and it was an interesting open conversation. I really did enjoy our time on it. But Planned Parenthood themselves admitted that there are hundreds of non-abortion providing vendors who are currently in this program. Each and every one of them is going to move forward to the new program. Each of them is available. They're already providing services to the 80,000 women that were mentioned. But we're also going to find that there's going to be other vendors out in more rural areas out there, the areas that we serve. And I'm looking forward to full faith that we're going to be better served. If we move it from all of the abortion providers, because I do have a belief that in the bigger picture, abortion providers have a system finding tax dollars that some of our community health centers don't have. I think I can point out that in 2015, $1.5 million of the total $3.8 million spent went to Planned Parenthood themselves. They have an insight on this money, that they have the experience to try to find this funding, where the rest of the community is not trying to be a magnet for that. While we're talking about that area, I think we do have a fiduciary duty. We have a duty to our taxpayers to make sure that their dollars are being spent properly, that our dollars are being spent efficiently. We have Planned Parenthood actually undergoing right now a $28 million Medicaid fraud investigation. This was brought forward by a 17-year veteran of Planned Parenthood. In fact, one of their clinic directives on River the other day, this was portrayed as a disgruntled employee. But actually, I think what we find is that this is somebody who was fired because when telemed abortions became the latest effort to try to maximize the number of abortions in Iowa, she couldn't do it. She saw the procedure, she saw how women were being treated and being sent home to confidential care, and she couldn't do it anymore. She was fired. When she tried to tell the world what was happening, she was offered a massive non-disclosure. She turned it down. She couldn't. So she's shedding light on the fact that we have a vendor for our Medicaid system who's actually looking at the taxpayers. I believe this is happening much right. I believe that the Medicaid should probably suffer under this. I believe we're going to end up with a better, more efficient program that actually pays for more services, because all the services will actually be performed if they're built, and they won't be overhauled if they were. So, ladies and gentlemen, the services will not be produced. We can remove at least one bad actor out of this process, and for our community providers who I want to rely on, I can walk in and see. And I'd like to point out the fact that this bill does not have any dollar signs in it, because it's not an appropriation. However, the same people who are putting this bill forward, the Senate Republicans, are also in charge of this Senate appropriations process. The dollars are going to be there. This is not going to be allowed to fail. This is going to be a successful program. And ladies and gentlemen, I ask that we support it and roll this out.
Thank you. Senator Snyder.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would just want to mention that I've heard from a lot of people on this issue on both sides of it, and I know many of us have the same. This is a program that I do believe will work well for Iowa and for Iowa women. When you look at the list of providers and areas where those providers are located, to me, it appears as though more women are going to have more options in more parts of the state. And that can mean a lot for rural women who may have to otherwise take time out of their day to travel somewhere. That's gas money, that might be time off from work. It doesn't have to be that. It can be more convenient. And that's what this bill does. I know there are a lot of people who I've talked to who disagree with that and who disagree strongly. I've tried to respond to every email correspondence that I've gotten, anyone who's come to me in the Capitol. I've been in the chamber, I've spent time with them, and I want to thank them for their thoughtful and their respectful conversations that I've had with them. I appreciate it. They pointed out some things that might be unintended consequences, and those might be true. I think we need to realize that as we move forward in this new program, and if that does turn out to be the case, we need to be prepared to make some changes. But I do believe this will ultimately be a good thing for Iowa, and the women in my family believe that as well.
all.
Thank you, Senator. Okay, it is 1:55 right now. As I mentioned earlier, I'm going to reconvene the meeting at 4 p.m. We will have ample time for you to ask questions and any other senators that want to ask questions. I want to compliment everyone in this room for their behavior.
Oh,
and I need a motion.
right knee's not behaving.
So we will be back at 4 p.m. in this room if you want to see us. Or recessing. Excuse me. Thank you.
Recessing till 4.
We'll see you at 4 p.m.
They have, some of these guys have to go to other committees that have priority, so that's why they're doing it this way. Yeah, reconvening at 4. Whew. Not a good time for my right knee to be disobedient. Once I get out of here, I'm going to go ahead and shed a skin. Can I surrender my right knee yet?
Oh, you take care of it. You got a good workout today.
Oh, yeah.
Good job.
Thanks. I think I'm going to go shed a skin. It's a little warm with my coat on. See, the members have other committees that they have to go to.
Yeah.
So that's why they got to do it this way. Can I sneak behind you or wherever?
Oh, yeah, sure.
They are recessing till 4 o'clock. The members have to go to other committees and subcommittees, so that's why they're doing it this way.
Thank you.
So you might want to spread that around.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So before I take my stream down for now, I'm just going to give you a look at all the people that are hanging out here. There's probably double the number of people out here who have an interest in the bill than could go into the room, because that room is packed like whales in a sardine can. So the pink shirts, some are wearing the pink hats. Pink is the color symbol of Planned Parenthood. So anyway, I'm going to take my stream down for a bit. I'm going to shed a skin, and I'll just kind of chill for a while. Then I'll go back in there at 4 o'clock Central, and this will resume, and I believe they'll take questions or comments from some members of the public probably, and then I think they will vote, and we'll see what happens with that. So stay tuned. This is not done yet.